Good evening, everybody. This is Cinnamon Noir.
And this is the Ramen Shaman.
Welcome to Tower of Heaven by ASCII Soft, music by Flashy Goodness, who is an amazing composer, I gotta say. As you can hear from this opening. So, Tower of Heaven was made by a sort of indie Japanese developer. They haven't made many games, although they have another one I highly recommend called Pause Ahead, which is very similar in mechanics to this game, but with one special twist. But Tower of Heaven, they made in 2009, probably their best-known game. You may have heard of it before, it was pretty popular. But it's a simple little platformer with some complicated rules. They haven't granted fortune. And I die right away.
Chop.
For some reason, even when you get hit in the bottom, your head explodes. I don't know why.
Getting Prince of Persia flashbacks from these traps, actually.
There is something a little Prince of Persia-y about this game. I can't make an adjective out of that. Prince of Persia. The thing about this game is, not only are there lots of rules, but it's also kind of easy to forget one when you're in the heat of the game. So there's lots of times, and then that kind of thing can happen. This game is a little bit unfair. Huh?
And they add up?
Yeah, they start to really become burdensome later on. Anyway, I was going to say, with a very limited color palette, this game manages to do a heck of a lot. It looks like a Game Boy game, but probably it's a lot prettier than almost any Game Boy game that's ever been made. I love the exterior scenes, they're beautiful. Anyway, I finally managed to make it past here. Yeah, I am going to play this game at death. Oh, shoot. How am I supposed to get out of here if I can't walk left? So remember, we still cannot touch yellow blocks. We can't walk left, which I kind of thought that only applied for that one room at first, but no, it stays. And you can't touch the side of any block, which really comes to bite you here. I touched the barest smidgen of the side of that block, and it killed me. Yeah, it is very easy to accidentally kill yourself at this point. And we're not even done having rules added to this. We have at least one more. Oh, shoot. So now I'm not allowed to touch anything that's living. That includes this grass, by the way, because grass is alive. Yep. I'm allowed to touch spikes, but they kill me anyway, so...
This just seems sadistic.
It is. It's deliberately sadistic. Oh, and by the way, at this point, they make it illegal to check the rules. If you press W, you'll get killed. So you just have to memorize them all from here on out. Remember, don't touch the sides of things, don't touch living things, don't go left, and don't touch yellow blocks. Basically, this turns into a game of hopping. Lots and lots of hopping. And being very careful with your timing. You have to make very tiny jumps. And you have to remember that anytime you're going to move left, you need to be hopping. I love how your head explodes and then it launches you into the air. It's like a primitive version of ragdolling. But yeah, if you play this game, you will soon learn to hate not only buzzsaws, but also butterflies. The two most different things in the universe. This section is just really sadistic. It is so difficult to get your momentum going past those fans, while simultaneously missing the butterflies, who of course are flying in a circle, not back and forth, or anything easy to predict. Meanwhile, under every little bit of it is grass, which will kill you.
Yep.
The grass might as well be lava.
This is essentially a Super Meat Boy.
That was the point where my fingers got a little tired and I just couldn't even move. I just sat there and let the buzzsaw get me. Kind of like what Bill Murray's like near the end of Groundhog Day.
Oh god.
He just died so many times, it's like you don't even try to stop it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to trying to make the player question themselves, I think that's a little bit of a cheap shot.
Yeah.
By the way, this is the end of the game. There are no more challenges after this, we've made it. Now we're just floating through space. And we go back into the the Tower of Heaven at its highest point. And now it's nighttime. Earlier it was during the day. But we've spent all day in this tower. Or who knows, maybe it was longer than a day. Time feels kind of elastic when you play this game, have you noticed? It was a butterfly the whole time! I knew it. But it asks you what your wish is, and you don't get to see what your character's wish is, actually. But apparently it was something special, because there's a whole lot of shaking going on. Ain't no faking. A whole lot of shaking going on.
Oh, God.
Anywho. So the tower's broken. No more Tower of Heaven. Kind of sad, really. Although, apparently the tower was what was keeping everything in grayscale, because once it falls, everything is nice again. This game is a very ambiguous kind of moral message. It's strange. The idea is your character has sort of lost their connection to the rest of the world, but the world is a better place because of it.
Yeah.
Kind of strange. It's like your character sacrificed himself. But the game's never specific about what you did, and so it is left with this very strange, disconcerting atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And this was all from the perspective of a person who wasn't even the character we were playing. Who knows who this guy is? So I don't know if you noticed, but every single song in this game is just elaborations on one song. But it's such a great song that I love it. I don't care. This piano version is close to my favorite of all the different renditions of it. But no, this is a great little game. It's fun to play. It's clever to a certain extent. And it knows what it wanted to accomplish. It's a very humble game. Good evening, everybody. This is Cinnamon Noir.
And this is the Ramen Shaman.
And welcome to a very special 4th of July episode of this channel, whatever it is. And for such a special American day, what could be better than the most American patriotic thing in existence, B-Ball? This is Tales of Games Studios presents Chef Boyardee's Barkley, Shut Up and Jam Gaiden.
Are they playing, They are!
Yes, they are!
Theme song to Space Jam.
It is. This is actually a sequel both to the movie Space Jam and to the video game Barkley, Shut Up and Jam from the early 90s. Both of these are from the early 90s.
Jesus.
Yeah, this is actually kind of a somber game, oddly enough. Somber and silly. You may notice it started off with a claim, this game is canon. The whole genesis for this game, actually, the idea for it, came from around 2006 when they were reading the Wikipedia entry for Space Jam. And it said, there is some debate as to whether or not the movie is canon. What they meant was whether it's canon to Looney Tunes. But what they thought about it was, what, they mean like canon to Michael Jordan's life? So that was the nugget of thought that led to this game. So I love this game. This is like a JRPG. It actually has a lot in common with Final Fantasy VI. Especially the idea of a lost technology which caused destruction and loss of life. Only everything is basketball themed. And there's some weird 80s references too. Like, these guys are going off to buy chops.
My Neo Shackles.
My Neo Shackles. Let's learn a little bit about Charles Barkley, shall we? Charles Barkley is 53. He's a retired professional basketball player and currently an analyst on the television program Inside the NBA. His nicknames are Chuck, Sir Charles, and the Round Mound of Rebound. Sort of the Incredibles undertones to this. Na-na-na-na-na, get a job. I love that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what Charles Barkley says to a bum who asks him for a new drink.
That is mean. God.
It is, but it's a catchy song. I love that song. So this is a pump. Pumps are what you save at in this game. However, before you can save, they give you this really long, ridiculous spiel that kind of resembles forum posts. In this one, he talks about how Japanese games are more sophisticated than Western ones. And don't mind that slot I just erased. It has no information you need to know about. But apparently it is. It's kind of hard to say. These guys are weird. There are so many different ideas in this game. And it incorporates influences from, like, almost everything. Oh, by the way, one of the most powerful healing items in this game is a chicken fry. Like from Burger King.
Mm.
In fact, there is another healing item that is chicken dew, which is the dew that accumulates on a chicken fry. This is a frickin' weird game. I can't say it enough.
This is an extremely weird game.
This is an extremely... It's also... So yeah, what we know so far Charles Barkley accidentally killed 15 million people during a ball game. After that, basketball was outlawed, and basketball players were either killed or went into hiding. Now he lives in a ruined, bombed-out shell of what I think originally was Manhattan, or something like that. And he's trying to protect himself and his kid, who likes to practice basketball, from Michael Jordan. Yeah, this is a game that actually exists, by the way. You're not having a dream right now. So we give them... I love the breakdancing they do at the end of this. Ultimate Hellbane is just tearing up the floor. Literally, since I think he's knocking his sword back and forth over it. Oh, here is a Zomballer. So, the Ultimate Hellbane can use Zauber attacks. Zaubers are like a special form of magic in this game. As I'm sure you may already know, Zauber just means magic in German. And I like that, because it kind of reminds me of the gratuitous German of some JRPGs, like the Also Sprach Zarathustra series. Sorry, the Xenosaga series. Also Sprach Zarathustra is just the name of one of the games.
I was going to guess a sequel to Beyond Good and Evil.
I know, we made that joke during the Beyond Good and Evil thing, but there are actually 3 Xenosaga games, and they're all named after Nietzsche books. One actually is named Beyond Good and Evil, but just in German. Which is, God, what is that in German? Just a minute. I shouldn't look up Wikipedia so much in these videos, but I can't help it. When you stare into the b-ball stares into you. Actually, the second game of this opens up with Hoops Barkley saying, "When you stare into the abyss, it stares into you." So it's kind of funny that
wow.
happens to exist in this game. Jenseits von Gut und Böse. Vorspiel einer Philosophie der Zukunft. The free throw's not too good, but the pass is a much better attack. Just completely wrecks their crap.
What is that other guy doing?
He's breakdancing, I think.
Their victory dances are so weird.
So this tomb belonged to Magic Johnson. I believe the phrase that used in Chime would be "rock the house." And then I love Charles Barkley here says, "I can see you're no greenhorn when it comes to vintage 21st century colloquialisms." And then the Ultimate Hellbane goes, "I'll take that as a compliment."
Is Rock the House really 21st century?
Well, it was used in the 21st century.
I guess.
It's weird, because they're still in the 21st century. Maybe he says 20th century. Times in this game are a little bit confused, much like the entire canon and story of the game. Because it's only 2053, but LeBron James has already had a great-grandson. It's like, how is this even frickin' possible? If that's like a sly reference to people having kids before they should, then, you know. But not only does he have a great-grandson, his great-grandson is an adult. That should take like 100 years.
Yeah.
There's no point trying to make sense of this game, because it really is kind of just like a crack dream. This is a new Zauber I just got, by the way, the Water Zauber. You can use it to give enemies special status effects, like I just gave these guys diabetes. Another one is glaucoma. When it said that Chups help with the glaucomas, they weren't actually kidding. Glaucoma is a status effect in this game, and you can fix it with weed. Anywho. These all the worst parts of movies. So this is the tomb he's taken him to, of the ultimate basketball player. I'm sure we all know who that is. Direct from Cleveland, with us tonight. Not live with us, he's dead. No, this is LeBron James. And wait a minute, if it's his grandfather, then that means the ultimate Hellbane is Balthios James. I'm Balthios James, bitch. So Balthios is Barkley's best friend, but he couldn't reveal himself until Barkley knew the truth. So LeBron James is a ghost from beyond time and space. He's like what Obi-Wan Kenobi was in the remade version of, Episode 6 of Star Wars. But anyway, he's come back to give Barkley some advice. You remember the Space Jam, don't you, Barkley? This game, there's so many great lines that you could quote out of context and they would make no sense at all. So yes, the Blood Moses has been using a magical b-ball to absorb basketball powers so that they can use a Chaos Dunk. We must stop them. Those monsters. Those monstars. Anyway, he tells us to look for the Cyber Dwarf. And yes, the Cyber Dwarf is actually someone you have to find. Uh-oh. Unfortunately, our efforts have summoned
Ball!
a b-ball monster who's just all balls all the time. Good night,
I love
everybody.
the sprites.
Oh, the sprites.
Or the pictures I was thinking of.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The character portraits. They're pretty crazy.
Alright.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody!
Good evening, everybody. This is Cinnamon Noir.
And this is the Ramen Shaman.
Welcome to Princess Remedy in a World of Hurt. I really love this game. It's a freeware game that was released by Ludosity, who are probably best known for the indie game It'll Do, which is a Zelda-like. But this one's a lot of fun. It's more based on old ZX Spectrum games, or Commodore 64. That's why it has that really weird multicolored look, with very simple graphics.
Oh.
So as Queen Amelia here is telling us, Princess Remedy is a Saturnian. She's from Saturn. But she's a healer by training, and her job is to go down, I don't know whether it's to Earth or like the surface of Saturn or something. They call it Hurtland. And she needs to heal people, because there's a lot of hurt down there. It's even, you might say, a world of hurt, hence the title.
Actually, this kind of strikes me as, like, missionary work.
It is kind of like missionary work. And yes, one of the things I like about this game is that, unlike the oft-criticized games about violence, this game's all about healing people, with healing bullets that you shoot at them. We'll see that pretty shortly. So, this is the basic fighting screen right here. You shoot out little pills which heal things, like Dr. Mario, but you do it automatically. So mostly it's a question of dodging their attacks and getting around the screen. There's lots of different types of enemies. You also have, what I just threw at him, a flask. The flask is basically just a really powerful bomb that you can lob that will heal things much more quickly.
Healing is shockingly violent.
Isn't it?
Here.
That's what I love about this game. Another thing I love, these things kind of look like panes of glass, don't they? Like in Windows?
Yeah.
So they're panes. Did you notice that?
Part of me wonders if she isn't, like, being deluded into thinking she's helping people and she's really, like, going on
Oh, I don't think that's true.
some kind of
That's
massacre.
ridiculous. But it's, again, one more of these really irresponsible people. It's like we're not teaching them anything. If you teach a man to do drugs, he's healthy for a day. If you get him to make his own drugs, he's rich. That's the lesson that we learned from this game.
That's an interesting...
This particular stage is pretty easy, just a bunch of bats. You can get through it quickly. And in this area, all of the characters we're healing are mummies. Which I happen to like. I like these really low-res ZX Spectrum mummies. There's one later we'll find who doesn't even get to be a mummy until later, like how we had that skeleton that turned into a little girl. Up here we're going to see a character who starts off as a roll of toilet paper. Look how sad he is. Someone...
Oh, God. Yeah.
That's kind of...
Yeah.
That's fridge horror, isn't it? Someone unwound an entire mummy and then rolled it back up into a toilet paper roll.
Oh,
That's how that had to happen. I mean, how else would it happen?
I thought it was just a roll of toilet paper
that thought it
that
was
was
a man.
traumatized from being used as toilet
Oh,
tissue.
no. No, I don't think so. Mummies don't need to use toilet paper. You know, somehow I know that.
But yeah, that is pretty sadistic.
It is. There's just some weird backstory in this. So yeah, that queen mummy, because, you know, mummies have a monarchy system, mummy monarchy, was stuck in a coffin. And somehow by throwing pills at her, we got her unstuck from a coffin. This is a running theme in this game, is that using pills, you can not only heal people who are sick, but also save them from improbable situations. These are some really special pills. This angel also points out that we're from Saturn, and mentions that the prince is our age. Interesting.
Oh my.
I sense some Twilight-esque shenanigans going on here. So did you notice there's an X right in this little podium? Which of course means we can go right through it, because that's what X's means. X's mean? I don't understand plurals. So this is a secret area we're going to here with this black hole. This is the Jealous Chest. Now the Jealous Chest in this is basically hard mode. If you want to open it, you cannot open any other chests before it, because it's jealous.
Oh, wow.
So what that means is no power-ups. You have to make it this far, not necessarily getting any of the enemies in this area, but at least getting up to this area, without getting any extra hearts, which means you have to heal everybody in the previous areas, and without getting any bonuses. Let it suffice to say, I have done this. It's really annoying and difficult, and I would not do it again for the world.
Why?
That's not that surprising.
It's kind of a weird character. Oh no, now we have to heal some girl. She doesn't even get to have a name.
Some girl.
She's some girl,
Wow.
let me tell you.
What's she got going on in her life? Because that's horrifying.
That's like in Charlotte's Web, when Charlotte writes some pig in that cobweb, which is supposed to mean like this is a really cool pig. But you also might think it's kind of, derogatory, like this is just some pig. Whereas she should have put in the web a talking pig, because that would have brought in the customers.
Until they realized that it couldn't talk.
Oh, I thought... Oh, shoot, I'm getting it confused with Babe again. I haven't read Charlotte's Web in a really long time. So here we have a couple of, I don't know if they're Norse or whatever kind of characters. Ludosity is from Sweden, so they might be. But here's Hrist, who's one of the warriors. The other, I think, is called Ire, or Irn, which I think is Bjork's middle name. Could be wrong. I don't remember if Bjork even has a middle name. She's Icelandic and therefore weird.
I'm also getting kind of a Sailor Moon.
There is a little bit of a Sailor Moon thing to this. Sailor Moon with drugs in
And
it.
Though I admit I've never actually watched much of Sailor Moon.
Let me just put it this way. I'm not going to admit anything. This guy's face hurts from laughing. We need to make his face unhurt. Which doesn't... you can't do that by making him cry, which you might have thought would work. No.
No, you'd want to, like, calm him down,
Yes,
right?
I guess. But now he's going to laugh again. God, he's worse than Uncle Albert from Mary Poppins. Obscure reference. Actually, that's not very obscure, is it? But here's the funny thing. I watched Mary Poppins a little while ago. I had completely forgotten about the Uncle Albert subplot. I completely forgot they go to a guy's house and he lifts into the air from laughing. I remembered the bank president dying from laughing, but not the rest of it. The bank manager, who's played by Dick Van Dyke, and also his son is played by Dick Van Dyke, and the character who's talking to them is Dick Van Dyke, which almost approaches like Dr. Strangelove levels of same characterness. Sorry, same actorness. That movie gets a little weird.
Although in video games, at least with voice actors, that's not that uncommon.
Has there ever been a game where Nolan North talks to himself? I mean, there should be. And I don't even mean like...
There's gotta have
I don't
been.
even mean like he plays two characters. I mean the game's actually about him talking to himself. And they just call him Nolan North.
Yeah, Spec Ops The Line, I guess.
Yeah, that is kind of a game about Nolan North talking to himself. So this is Jeff.
Yeah.
He's the servant of Prince Hingst, apparently. And he says everyone left Prince Hingst because he might be contagious. He's got like every sickness in the entire world. So we got what you wanted, Greg, someone who's really, really sick. More importantly, though, in his castle we found a box of chocolates. And what Fralin wants more than anything else is a box of chocolates. So that is, in fact, the key to get into her area.
Because he doesn't know what he's going
That
to
sounded
get?
really horrible. The key to get into her area. What I meant is the place where she is. So, Fralin has a broken heart. In fact, she has 4 broken hearts. These are the hardest enemies in the game. They take lots of damage, they move around all over the place and try to corner you, and they spit projectiles. When I first fought these guys, I died against them probably 7 or 8 times before winning. They're very hard. If you can get down to 2 of them, though, you can probably, pull this one out. It's hard to say because, as you can see, by the time you get there, you're pretty damaged. But no, finally I manage it. Whew. And she's in love with us again, which is a problem. No, sorry. Apparently it doesn't matter if we're just friends or not. She's realized that. She's realized that there's personal space. But if we ever change our minds, she's totally into us. That's this game. It's like a romance subplot, There is also a secret message here, and here's a secret orb that mentions how many NPCs there are, how many different endings you can get, and yes, there are 66 endings to this game. I'll explain how that works later. So, into the Royal Castle, past Jeff. Jeff has nothing more to teach us. So here he is, Prince Hingst. He's all red, except for the yellow on top. So he suffers from everything.
Everything.
Slimy tears, nightmares, Fear of birds. That's a terrible one. And he has a voice in his head with a very large ego. So that is actually the thing he suffers from. He is basically being possessed by this
Jesus.
tower of horrible bullcrap. He has apathetic frog syndrome. Quick, break out the heavy stuff. 200 cc's of bullets, stat. Also, he has a goose, or a swan or something. We killed it. And if you thought that frog was apathetic, look at that snake on the bottom. That is the most jaded snake I've ever seen.
He just looks petulant to me.
Hey, why'd you do that? So here he is.
How many stages?
This character looks kind of like Kefka from the end of Final Fantasy VI, with the rays of light coming down and his pseudo-nihilistic dialogue. I also love how one of his arms is in kind of that "oh please girlfriend" position, and then there's a hand above him that's doing exactly the same thing.
He seems like he's lounging.
He is. He kind of is. He's smug. He thinks he's got it all under control, but he doesn't because we healed him. There we go.
We healed the shit out of him.
I'm gonna heal you to death. So he doesn't even know our name, which is funny because I thought we were pretty famous, but we know his name at least. So we're going to be the Queen of Hurtland.
Cool.
But we're going to change the name to Healland because of her. And funnily enough, Prince Hengst is totally okay with you not marrying him to become queen. You can just marry whoever you want, and then they'll be queen consort, and you'll be queen. So this is why there's 66 endings. You can talk to anyone in the game that you want at this point and marry them. Like literally, you marry them and live with them for the rest of your life. So it's a very important choice, you know?
Bit Harvest Moon.
It is. I actually really like this aspect, even if it's a bit weird. And, you know, if BioWare thinks they're so impressive for having lesbian options, this game has, pansexual options. You could choose things and marry them. So what should we do? I mean, should we marry a rose? I eventually decided against that, because, you know, it'd be a bit prickly. That's not the only reason not to marry a rose, but I considered marrying one of these two, but I kind of think they're already married, and I don't want to mess up that. You know, I don't want to get in the way. Princess Remedy's a nice person. Now, let's see. I could marry some girl. Though I'd probably take her name afterwards and be called Remedy Girl. How about the apathetic frog? You want to marry an apathetic frog? But no, Fralin, that's
Not
the one
really.
we gotta marry, right? Because she cares so much about us.
Clearly.
No, but we're not going to, actually.
Oh,
I
I
also
see.
consider marrying her, too, but no. I eventually decided there is only one choice. There's one person who's obvious. And it's not Idle or Tipsy. No, I just stopped by here for fun. I lingered on that for a long time. Marry a flying fox that's addicted to potions. No. I know what I want to do. I've made my choice, and I think it's worth it. Obviously, there's lots of choices in this game, but you can justify anyone you like. I'm going to go ahead and marry. I think it's pretty obvious at this point. I'm just checking to make sure I have everything. It's time to marry the one person who loves us more than anyone else, Jeff. Yep.
Okay, then.
And so we married Jeff. We ruled justly, just like those Narnia books, and lived happily ever after.
It is a little weird that you've got, two brothers and two sisters ruling as kings and queens.
That's creepy.
And they're not married.
Why are they called king and queen? I mean, that suggests some really disturbing implications.
Especially since they clearly don't bother to take, any other
I know, they don't marry anyone else.
There's,
It's weird.
There's some really weird subtext
So
there.
join us on our new podcast, Narnia Problems, where we discuss the problems with
odd.
ceaseless Narnia.
Because Narnia was kind of the product of Lewis's born-again Christian phase.
He wasn't born again. He was an authentic Christian. No, but the fun thing about this game is that once you've finished it, you can go back and do the marriage thing with anyone else. So I wanted to marry the secret orb, but you actually can't. The other thing about it is that once you finish the game, you can go back to the Saturnian Palace, which you can't get to normally through the whole rest of the game. And then you can also marry any of these characters, even though they're totally pointless. I didn't even know these characters' names. I mean, they're kind of hard to tell. You can marry your own mom, which is wrong. But no, you cannot marry the secret orb. That's the one interactable object in the whole game you can't marry. And that's just sad. What happened to options, Ludosity?
Indeed.
No, but there's only one choice. We gotta marry an apathetic frog. She ruled justly and lived happily. Not that the apathetic frog cared. Apathetic frog is like honey badger times 10. So, yes, this is the actual conclusion of the game. We've finally gotten through it. Thank you all for watching.
And 100% completion.
What were you going to say?
You also got 100% completion.
I did. I got all the chests in the game, except the jealous chest, which for some reason doesn't count. But, oh well, that's the way it is.
Probably because it's so hard to get.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.